didn't have a chance to win it. I think maybe 1 or 2 rounds at the most. So there's no reason to allow that to take finally make this one. So Terence Crawford goes down pound for pound as the best in the world. You're going to have to say I said to him, I know he Terence needs this level of another fights like this. 3 weight divisions now. Unified junior world for the first time since
So we saw Terence Crawford stop Jeff Horn in the 9th round. Overall, what did you make of his welterweight debut as he went ahead and got a very dominant win over a very tough Jeff Horn?
I think he looked fabulous. I think he looked very strong, very calculating, very smart. Didn't fight a guy that was on his level skill-wise. Big heart, great chin, very strong. But it took 3 or 4 rounds. I was telling Brad Goodwin, who was sitting next to me, 3 or 4 rounds for Terence to figure out what he was doing, and then he was going to punch at him. Exactly what he did. I thought he looked very, very good.
What were you most impressed about Terence in that match?
What a good athlete he is. I mean, what a good athlete he is. He puts himself in positions to land great punches with great balance. It was difficult at the beginning, only because Jeff was rushing him and kind of using his forearm on him and pushing him. But once he figured that out and he was spinning around and he was changing direction on him, it was easy for him to land the punches that he needed to land.
Now, a lot was said about the size of Jeff Horn in this fight. We saw during the middle rounds, Crawford actually push Jeff, start pushing the pace and stalking the bigger guy down. Do you think that size argument that people bring up about him being a lightweight coming in a welterweight is going to work with these other welterweights, or is it going to be a thing his skill is going to really shine through?
It wasn't only his skill, it's his balance and technique and how he uses his legs and uses his lower body. You notice when Jeff was trying to muscle him, Jeff is straight himself because his legs are stiff and his body's way up in the air. With Terence, his center
more impressive performance.
More than the 20 punches that Terence landed in a row. Jeff didn't get hit to the body like Linares did. A lot of times guys can take shots to the head a little more than they can take shots to the body.
In terms of the ranking of him being best fighter in the world from what we saw, would you place him up there? I know you may be a little biased. You may say Golovkin.
I say Golovkin is number 1. Terence has to be number 2.
But above Lomachenko?
Yes.
Now, a lot of fans are going to wonder why.
Why? Because Lomachenko hasn't done what Terence has done in the divisions that he's been in, dominated like he has. Lomachenko has looked very good. He's got great legs. He's got great skills, but Terence is a better all-around fighter.
Now, in terms of Gennady, what's the status of what's happening right now?
You know, I don't know. I talked to Tom this afternoon. They're still talking. Him and Eric and Oscar are still talking. Maybe it's salvageable. I don't know. I have to talk to Tom tomorrow.
And how was the news met about the stripping of the IBF title?
It's unfortunate that one of the better champions of this era gets stripped. I think the organizations have to have more consideration for these guys that are trying to create history, as Terence did in unifying his division, as Evander Holyfield, as Bernard Hopkins. There's got to be a little leniency to protect our sport. To protect our sport for these guys that are trying to create something that 20 years from now we're going to talk about. And to strip him for a mandatory, a guy that's got 12 whatever fights he's got, and his last fight was an 8-round fight against a guy 22 and 23. Just makes no sense. We weren't even given an option to say we're going to fight him or not. They just stripped him, which is, I don't think they've ever done that.
In terms of the feeling you get, do you think that the event will be saved? Do you see that Golovkin will fight Canelo?
You know, I sure hope so. I think boxing needs that fight, but they were so far apart 2 weeks ago. They seem to get closer. Oscar said he was close to finalizing with Tom, and then the next day it's so far apart again. So who knows? I have 9 other guys in my gym that I'm training for fights in the next 3 or 4 months. So if it gets made, we get back in the gym, we train, and we fight the fight. I hope so for the fans. I hope so for boxing, but if it doesn't get made, I'm sure it'll get made next year.
Plan B would be who?
I don't know. That's Tom's department. And when they decide, come to Cancun for the fight and start training.
All right, Abel. Thank you so much. It's good seeing you. I know it was a random night that I did see you. Abel Sanchez, of course, the trainer of Fanatic Golovkin here in Las Vegas, Nevada, where Terrence Crawford stopped Jeff Horn in round number 9. Good to see you too. Abel, thank you. You gonna go golf tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Already, Sal and Mikey.
Nice.
Absolutely.
And Timmy? Where's over here?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, buddy.
See you very much. Appreciate it.
Can I get one more? Absolutely.
Thanks, bud.
Abel,
I don't know. Okay.
All right.
Abel, was a dominating performance by Terrence tonight. Just give us your thoughts on it.
I thought he looked fantastic. I thought it took him a couple rounds to figure out the rushes and see how he was going to handle them. I was telling Brad, who was sitting next to me, Brad Goodman, that it was going to take him 3 or 4 rounds to figure him out, and then he was going to pot shot him, and exactly what he did. He was just too slick, too good. Jeff has a big heart, a great chin, but sometimes you got to save them from themselves.
Is this? I mean, obviously it's Terrence's only fight at 147, but just at 140 he was the best fighter at that division. Do you feel like he's one of the top names, if not the top guy at 147?
I think he and Errol Spence will make for a fabulous fight. I think I told you this before.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Errol was one of my favorites in the coming out of the Olympics. I thought that he was going to be the one to make him and I thought him and Marcus were going to be the best pros. Terrence is doing what I thought he would do in a couple fights. That should be a mega fight, a super fight.
I actually have a lot of people giving me both. I have a lot of people actually going full Spence on that. I feel like I'm the one that has to make an argument for Crawford in that.
Well, I think that Crawford right now in the next 2 or 3 fights, Crawford is my favorite. But give Spence 3 or 4 fights and get him some experience like Crawford got tonight. It's going to be difficult to beat Spence.
What was the most impressive thing that Terrence Crawford did tonight? Like, was footwork, his timing?
The most impressive for me was once he figured him out, how easy he was getting up underneath him and changing the angle on him. At the beginning, he was allowing Horn to use his elbow and use his forearm. And then once he figured that out 2 or 3 rounds later, he was able to allow the rush and then move to one side and be in position to land his shots. And he's got such good balance. His bottom half is always in position to punch, and it's low. Jeff may have been bigger and stronger, but Jeff was straight up in the air, so he actually was weaker because the other guy had a better posture.
I know you have Triple G. You always tell me Triple G is the pound for pound #1 right now.
I have to say that.
Right, so I'm asking. So, I mean, where does Terrence land on that list?
Got to be number 2. Got to be number 2, Lomachenko number 3, maybe.
So behind Lomachenko for sure, then.
Yeah, I think that he's a little more developed at this point.
Is I guess. So it's top 3 then, I guess, in your opinion, is Triple G, Terrence,
and
Lomachenko. We talked about Triple G. Obviously, we talked about the IBF shipping already. Latest I've heard, I believe Triple G's kind of maybe gotten a little soft on the 50, not soft, but just kind of maybe come off a little off the 50-50. I mean, I don't know. You tell me.
I think that Triple G understands that the fans want this fight. The fans are just like when he fought on the 5th, he didn't want to rob the fans of the fights that to watch him fight. So he and Tom have talked to Oscar and to Eric about a different scenario. I don't know what the scenario is. Numbers always get mentioned on Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that, but I honestly don't know what those numbers are that they're discussing, but it is being discussed. So hopefully it gets made.
from obviously you're hearing those conversations, just the tone of it and all that. Are you pretty hopeful that we're looking at the rematch in September?
The fact that they're talking about it is hopeful.
Right. Yeah.
You know, the fact that they're talking about it and they're not saying it's completely dead is hopeful.
Right. Well, hopefully it happens, man. I appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much, Abel, and hopefully we next time I talk to you, hopefully we're talking about the match. It's done, and
so.
you know what I mean. Thank you, brother. Appreciate your time, man.
Señor, a ver, una fotito, por
Sí,
favor.
cómo no.
As we're going to go back to the press conference. Hopefully it hasn't started yet. We'll see what we get for you guys. There's the bowels of the MGM here. Beyonce. Hey, boo.
You gotta get your waves right. Check the waves out. You gotta get your waves right. You ain't got that Mayweather do-rag.
Oh, shoot him, son. Guys, here we are.
Okay.
Bob Arum's talking. Here we go.
Will watch their entertainment and their sports mostly on digital platforms. Direct to consumer. Trump just watches TV. Well, that's right, he's a friggin' idiot. I mean, really.
Bob, can I ask you about Jeff and what you think of his performance tonight? And do you want to keep that association going? Because your deal with him is up now. Where do you
Who's that?
Jeff Horn.
I thought he showed a very courageous, to stand in there and take the punishment from an elite guy. He showed himself with a lot of Johnnies, you know, and he gave a good performance. Was he competitive with Crawford? No, but I don't know anybody really who's going to be competitive with Crawford.
Do you want to keep the relationship going, Bob, do you think?
Yeah, sure. I mean, and I love Brisbane. I love Queensland. You know, I love the two fights that I co-promoted there, the Horn with Corcoran and Horn with Pacquiao. And I would certainly love to go back to Queensland and the rest of Australia to do fight promotions. It's a big sports nation.
Hey Bob, what's next for Crawford? He keeps saying that he wants the big fights and all that. What do you think is the next one?
Well, they're all big fights. They're all, you know, we get him the best possible opponent. The thing that's important, he had a long layoff partly because he hurt his hand in the training. We had Dr. Shin from Joe Curlin treat him, and his doctor in Omaha treated him, and we had to do a postponement. So he was off 8, 10 months, something like that. So we got to make up for that, and hopefully get him back in action in October. And we'll see who's around for him to face.
Any more questions for Jose?
Round of applause for, you'll see him soon. Congratulations.
And Jeff and Terrence should be arriving very shortly.
And a lot of kids really impressed on the card. I thought Max Stadishev, the kid from St. Petersburg, showed a lot of talent. This was only his 11th professional fight, and he was fighting a experienced fighter. He was ahead on 2 of the scorecards, well, a couple of points ahead when he knocked out his opponent. But that was a terrific fight. The semi-main with Pedraza and Arum was a terrific fight. I thought very, very competitive. You saw Shakur Stevenson on his way to greatness. I think he's going to be a major, major factor in boxing. Gabe Flores looked terrific. I was very pleased with his performance. I thought all these guys performed well. I mean, Jose Benavidez, sorry we didn't see more of him, but he threw that crunching punch that knocked out the opponent and won, and that's what you're expected to do, win. So Jose, that was a big victory. Everybody performed well, including, I must say, the Lion of Zion. Lion of Zion looked really good tonight, getting rid of his opponent with a body punch in the first fight.
Any more questions about the Crawford Horn fight for Bob? Okay, so that concludes this portion of it. We will be back with Jeff and Terrence shortly.
No, we keep talking.
Or we keep talking. Who has another question for Bob?
Don't be questions, just discuss things.
Bob?
We can discuss a president of the United States who tells our allies that without Russia they're nothing, right? That's really what everybody suspected. I mean, can you believe you talk about treason with the president of the United States, a traitor to this country, bought and paid for by the Russians? Write that. Write that.
I'm on it. That's pretty heavy.
Sorry, Bob, it's not a Trump question, but can I ask you another Horn question? You said you'd like to keep working with Horn, Bob, but you were talking about in Australia. Would you want to bring him over here for maybe some more fights in America?
Absolutely. I mean, I think he's a courageous fighter. He was in with a super elite fighter. Let's see him fight with regular welterweights. We have a whole bunch of them that fight for top rank. This Kavaliska's kid is a terrific fighter. A whole group of welterweights that we can put him in. If Glenn wants to bring him over and fight in the United States, love to put him on a card, and he would be, I think, a welcome addition to our ESPN telecast.
Horn and Sean Porter would be good.
Terrence Crawford is entering the room right.
Sean Porter and Horn would be good.
You what?
Sean Porter and Horn would be a good fight.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. Going two guys at each other?
Yeah, I think so. All right, good. Here's the man. Here's the man.
Why y'all looking so sad? Sorry. Hey,
Bob, we got a question here.
Hey, Terrence, this is Rich Ortiz from The Fighter's Voice. I got to ask you this. As soon as you went into the ring, the crowd seems to shift. But as soon as you started landing those combinations, they were all yelling Crawford. How does that make you feel to know that you just did not win the fight, you won the crowd over?
Expected me from the jump. They just couldn't acknowledge it because that boy, was fighting me. So they had to ride with Jeff Horn.
Thank you, sir.
Terrence right in front. Congratulations. That was a great performance. It seems like you're getting better every time out. Do you feel like you're hitting your prime now where, you've gone through all these levels and now you're at 147 where you're going to stay and kind of, do your best work?
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting better and better. I feel like I'm stronger. I'm more, energized. I feel like this is a great division for me.
And the thing that, impressed me tonight was, how you were using your feet in there and, kind of creating angles for yourself to throw those punches and get out of there. Is that something you feel like is a level you've taken above? I know you've always had quickness and good feet, but it seems like tonight your footwork was really outstanding.
If you watch me fight, it's the same thing, make my adjustments and catch them coming in if that's what they want to do, or go to them. You got to bring your feet with your hands. So So it's something that we practice on.
And my last question for you is, I just said I think you and Errol Spence are by far the two best guys out there. How do you think you would do against him, and are you going to be at his fight next week?
I do well with him. I believe I do well with any welterweight in the division and so forth.
Chance, how was your wind out there?
Oh, I was loving it. I had that oxygen, that H2O.
Terrence, there was a little bit of animosity between the camps this week over here, so a little bit of a war of words during the week. Did that add to your motivation levels, and does it make the win any more satisfying tonight?
Of course, but I knew where they camp was coming from. They was trying to get under my skin. I'm pretty sure they didn't believe it. Nothing that they were saying. They was just coming up with excuse after excuse. What him and his coaches and my coaches had going on didn't have nothing to do with me. I stayed focused.
Terrence, at what point did you feel you could stop Jeff? Before the fight? At what point during the fight?
About the second, third round, I knew that I was the stronger guy. I knew that his punches couldn't hurt me, and I hit him with, I think, a right hook that really hurted him, and I knew it was just a matter of time.
Terrence, post-fight, you said that your trainer, Bomac, wanted you to switch to southpaw, and you decided not to. Why did you know you had him even in the orthodox?
No, he wanted me to switch back to orthodox.
Oh, from southpaw.
Yeah.
What made you not switch?
Not the whole fight. Almost. Yeah, but he wanted me to switch back, but I just chose not to because I told him I had him and I was gonna get him out of there.
Terrence, you didn't want to talk about the future before the fight, but now that this is over, next fight maybe in October, do you have, is there someone that you want to go up against?
Well, right now we're gonna go home. We're gonna enjoy this win. We've been out the ring for a long time, so we're just happy to be back in the ring, and we're gonna make up a plan and see where we go. But I assure you that we're looking for the biggest fights out there.
Any more questions?
But your ring talents are undeniable, but is there anything you can do personally to raise your persona to make yourself a more marketable athlete in terms of the general public as opposed to the boxing folk?
I believe I just gotta keep doing what I'm doing.
Like Marvin Hagler, right? Marvin never did anything really to endear himself to you guys, but he made more money than any of the middleweights around because he was Marvin Hagler and he stayed to the end being Marvin Hagler. So is Bud Crawford. He's going to be Bud Crawford forever. Boy, Bud.
First of all, congratulations on a great win, a great dominating win. He was coming at you full force at first, and did you feel like, I'm gonna ask you this, were you prepared for him to come at you like that, and how did you keep so calm under those conditions?
Of course we was prepared for that. I'm a calm fighter. We knew what we was up against. We dealt with bigger, stronger, faster sparring partners in training camp that was relentless and didn't back up. So that helped me prepare for tonight.
Back here. Just a short question. What does it feel like, can you talk about the moment for being a 3-division world champion? It's quite a feat.
Oh, it feels great. I'm a champion now. I can call myself a champ again. Coming into this fight, I was the challenger, and I too much didn't like that. I wanted the title again, and now that I got that, now I can rest and assure you that I'll be back stronger and better next time.
Terrence, was there anything Jeff did
that surprised you at all?
Not really. We knew everything he was going to do in there. We knew how he was going to come. There's only so much you can change in a person's style when he's so used to fighting one style and one style only. So we knew how the fight was going to go. We knew how he was going to come.
Terrence, did you feel going into the fight that the only chance that Jeff would have is to, you know, maybe get lucky and land one on you, or did you change your opinion once that fight started? Did he show you more than you thought going into the fight?
Not at all. He did everything we expected him to do. Like I told everybody before, he came in there with the intentions of roughing me up and getting aggressive. But the thing he didn't understand was how strong I was. So I think they underestimated me a little bit on that aspect of the game. But once we got in there and he felt my strength, he too much, you know, just wanted to dart in with the straight right.
Terrence Terrell Emerson from UNLV. The question that I have, you just kind of touched on it. Jeff said in the ring after the fight that you kind of shocked him in terms of power. How many welterweights do you believe that you're going to shock in terms of your power?
I think they all gonna respect me now. You know, I feel like I just displayed my talent and my power, and he's supposed to be a big welterweight in the division, and they see how I dealt with him, so they're gonna be a little cautious.
Terrence, you're now the WBO welterweight champion. Congratulations. At 140, you unified the division. It was the first time in forever that that had been done. Is that the goal here at 147?
Facts. You know, we won them all. Won them all. That's the goal.
And my second.
One more question for Terrence.
Well, my second question, real quick. 147. Did obviously you didn't have to like melt yourself down and make weight, but did you do anything to kind of gain any strength, or was it just more about not making the weight?
No, the strength is always there. You know, credit my strength and conditioning coach, Jamie Belt, get me in the best of shape of my abilities. I got stronger in there, being that I didn't have to cut as much weight, and I think it showed today.
Definitely. Thank you.
Right here, Terrence. Congratulations on the win. I don't know if this has already been addressed. I just got in there from finishing up at ringside. But you came out left-handed, and you switch all the time. But you started off right off the bat left-handed. I wanted to know what was
right-handed.
I'm sorry, right-handed, and then you switched left-handed in the 8th round. What was the reason for the switch at that point?
Just cause.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was something that Brian said to you, or that you just felt like you had shown him everything from one stance and go to the other, confuse him a little bit.
I gotta keep my right hand stance away from people.
That's it?
Yeah. I gotta say that. I gotta keep that in the basket.
I want to ask Bob also. Bob, I'm not sure what your opening comments were here. Can you just give me...
My opening comments were that I was telling him, I had a little microphone, it was in his ear, switch left, switch right.
He was ripping Trump, that was it.
Can you just give your assessment of what you've seen? You watched him so many years, you watched him through the 2 weight classes now at welterweight. Just give your impression of what you see in Crawford tonight and the future for him.
He's a terrific fighter. I've told everybody. I compare him, and it's the highest praise that I could give a fighter of welterweight, the mid-level, weight divisions, that he reminds me of Sugar Ray Leonard. And that, to me, is a great, great compliment, because I always thought that Leonard was the best, and this guy is equal, if not better, than Ray was.
It's a big accomplishment.
Yeah. What about the future for him?
Future is unlimited. Unlimited. We're going to, one thing with this ESPN platform, we have the dates, and we're going to have Bud fight as many times as he and Bomac want. If he wants to fight 3 times a year, if he wants to fight 4 times a year, we got the dates for him. So it's up to him as to how busy he wants to be.
Let's get this money.
Thank you, Terrence.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Let's bring the kid up. Let's bring another knockout for, where's Shakur? Hey, come on.
Hey, little bro.
Congratulations. I went to this third or fourth straight knockout?
Yes, sir.
Third straight knockout. Look good, man.
I appreciate that.
He goes again in August 18th in Philly, right?
Yeah.
Any questions for Shakur? You're looking at
Damn, I don't get no
future
love.
champion.
Nah, I'll be dogging blooded 2Ks.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how good are your 2K?
Shakur, how you doing? Congratulations. If you could line up 3 opponents, who would you want? The 3 people that are my weight class that got belts. Josh Warrington, Valdez, and Leo Santa Cruz. Did he win tonight?
It's in the 6th round. No, actually.
Yeah, I'll fight any of them.
He'll fight them both the same night.
When you see Terrence doing what he did tonight and being on the platform that he's on and at this level, how much inspiration does that give you, especially being around him all the time?
It's motivation watching Terrence, because it's like I'm watching greatness, and I'm learning so much watching. I'm learning so much watching Terrence fight these guys, and when I get my chance to get in that moment, I'll be ready.
What's up, man? Congratulations. I want to say, when you're in the ring and you fight, you look like you're having a lot of fun. Are you having as much fun as it look like you're having?
Most definitely. I feel like when I'm having fun, I'm at my best. And honestly, I feel like I'm ready for a step-up fight. This guy was 16-1, but I'm kind of ready for a real step-up fight, like a test.
Do you have anybody specific that you really want?
Now, I don't got nobody in mind, but I want to step up. I want some competition.
Okay.
Bob, what are your thoughts on Shakur wanting to step up as quickly as he does?
Look, I have the benefit of experience. I want you to know, when Ray Leonard, I go back to Ray because I'm a great admirer. When Ray came out of the Olympics and turned pro, within 2 years, he fought Wilfred Benitez for the welterweight championship of the world. Within 2 years. Now, fighters today fool around a lot, taking fights, learning the trade, and a lot of that is good. But when you get a real talent like Shakur, I think it's the kind of guy that can move very fast. Maybe not 2 years, but maybe 2.5 years, get him in a position where he fights for a title. He has inordinate skills, and he deserves and will be a champion in relatively short order.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thanks, Shakur. Jeff Warren will be here in 5 minutes.
No, Jeff Warren's going to be in 5 minutes.
Bob, we got a question.
How you doing, Bob? Bob, I don't want to take away from tonight's event. Right here, Bob?
Yeah, where are you?
To your left.
My left?
Right here, I'm waving, sir. Yeah, Rich Ortiz right here, sir. I want to ask you this. I know this is Crawford's night, Crawford's event, but I got to ask you, Jose Ramirez was on ringside, he was commentating. Could we talk about July 7th, Fresno, California, Save Mart Center, what we can expect on a Dynamite night?
Well, we're going to have the entire town of Fresno, California, and the Central Valley, which grow the produce of the United States and the world. packed arena.
Well, let's figure it out in the first couple of
It's going to be the first time they spent. Sorry,
So I saw you smiling in there and laughing.
After the great victory and after the square run, now his first title defense at home.
Got a lot of opponents that you could face in this World Championship. It's that. In terms of who you think would be a good second fight defense, who do you think?
Thank you, sir. Richard Keefe from the Fighters Voice. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Given this performance, do you feel that you're the best welterweight? All right, Terrence, congratulations in your welterweight debut. New world champion right here. Takes the WBO belt from Jeff Horn here tonight at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada. Huh? He's one person that I ain't got. Where's the
Waiting for
scrum to shift.
Yeah.
You can do that. Run up to Fresno.
If we're going to take
Fresno, I'll be up in Fresno.
You were a little too shy. Otherwise, he would have responded. A little more harsher with that shoulder pad.
I just want to make sure I said something.
That's all right. He jabbed, he countered, he did everything that you're supposed to do. And because he has that kind of style, he's going to last longer. So he's going to walk away with that money. He'll walk away. And it's crazy. You know, for the guy, I don't know who he was. He's always losing. You know, in the midst of a victory like this, man, what do you have to do to become a bigger star? My thing is this, like, he has every opportunity to promote Terrence Crawford. They got every opportunity to promote, just like they do some of the foreign fighters that come over here who don't speak English and who don't have the best personality. Sometimes, you know, sometimes Americans can't relate, but you know how Americans find out about it. They're promoting.
Now we have Jeff Horn's trainer, Glenn Rushton, and his promoter, Duco events, Steve Honor.
Did Jeff come?
I don't know.
Did Jeff come?
They got every opportunity to do that with Terrence. Terrence did his part.
Questions?
He did his part. So Terrence
Oh,
has
those
to be
no,
anything
you know
other
what's
than
your
himself
reaction?
to get you to write about it.
I thought it was a great fight.
Hey,
I
man,
think
I asked him
one of the
what
things we were trying to get across to
that
people in
question should not
Australia
be
is
for
just who
Terrence.
Terrence Crawford is, and he's a future Hall of
And there are
Famer
some
whether he
people that
fights
do
again
come
or
and
not.
do a
You know,
great
he's a
job.
guy, first guy in 15 years in the unified division, 32 fights.
Sometimes when they don't promote, they say, oh, you don't have punching power.
And he showed tonight why he's one of the best in the
Oh,
world.
well, his
right now,
style.
and people rate him
See,
down.
anything wrong with his style tonight, he just keep taking
Just
it
more, I thought, they put up a very, very brave fight. I don't think
Answer that question.
he was that class.
You gotta ask yourself,
I would
why
say
am I not
that
getting
I think Terrence is winning the fight, and Jeff probably had to knock him out. To win the fight, I do think that Robert
It's a
Beard
tough
had a
fight.
good
Listen,
night.
that's a tough
If
fight.
you
It's a
check
tough
the
fight. You can't go
Strowman,
that fight.
you got to understand, Jim is one of the toughest in Australia. And I think he could have gone on for the fight, but it would be nice to see what happens a bit more.
That's a super welterweight.
It is what it is. The referee was right there in the space, and he's probably been the best in the fight by the fighter.
When do you do 6 months, 8 months, a year? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, basically my take on the fight was that, firstly, congratulations to Terrence Crawford and his team. He's as Dean said, he's a brilliant fighter, he's a very worthy world champion, so we take nothing away from Terrence's effort. Terrence delivered about exactly what I thought he would deliver tonight, no more, no less. There were no surprises for me whatsoever through the fight. I did feel Jeff was slightly off his game tonight. I don't know why. I've got to put my finger on that. I'll review the fight. I'll look at it. He was, again, coming a lot faster than that in training, so I'm not sure. I'll try and put my finger on exactly what that was. He was never hurt through the fight. He's got no headache now. His eyes weren't closed. He felt fine, he said, through the fight. He still feels fine. I thought that the stoppage was too quick. He actually got hurt more against Manny Pacquiao. The rounds were close. Just sometimes Terence has maybe just landed a couple of the cleaner shots, but there wasn't much. Many of the rounds were very close, but just these couple of extra shots. Certainly, I think Terence landed the cleaner shots. Jeff was struggling to really land that really big, clean shot that could have turned the fight. But we did say with 4 rounds to go, we just hang in there. There's 4 to go. Look for the opportunity. You know, Terence, I thought, had those little flat spots as well, where you just think maybe is he flattening, and let's plan. So we're planning for a big finish. We wanted to bring it home really hard in the last 2 or 3 rounds, but that didn't quite happen. Robert felt that he'd had enough. That's his call. It's his right as a referee. We'd certainly be up for a rematch anytime. We believe that we have certainly shown that Jeff Horn today is an incredibly tough, very courageous, very skillful boxer, and there wasn't a lot in the fight. That's not trying to take anything away from a brilliant effort from Terence Crawford, the true champion, but just to say we're up for a rematch. We'd love to have done this one on Australian soil. Just all those little advantages all make a little bit of difference. But as I said, well done to Terence Crawford. Jeff Horn, only his 20th fight, showed he's up there with the very best, and rest assured he'll be back for big weight.
Jeff will be down here a little bit later. He's just getting stitched up at the moment.
He counterpunched.
Brad Jacobs organised a classic series. He's doing a stunningly good job stitching him up. So as soon as he's finished, he'll be back. He'll be down here. He's keen to front. Glenn is a move up in weight.
Surprised. Like I've been watching.
Better for Jeff just
blood for a long time. Like I know what he possesses.
Yep.
If I had to say one thing, I'd probably say
he's had problems making.
I love the way he
previous
performs
fights,
on the big
he's got a
stage.
naturally big frame.
He doesn't let the stage. He doesn't let the bright lights
in
get
class as a natural.
You know, sometimes guys have everything.
Sure, it's very possible. You know, we're just happy to fight at welter. We're happy to fight at light middle. I think you can see he's tough enough to take on any of the light middles out there. There's no. He was never hurt in that fight, by the way. I said to Jeff, we ever hurt. Even the knockdown in round 8 there, he felt it was more of a slip. He said, I was just moving sideways. He said, I wasn't hurt in any way when he comes out, not at all. So he said, never ever hurt, never felt, none of the punches hurt him, wasn't hurt to the body, wasn't hurt to the head. Yeah, he's got a couple of forces, a couple of cuts through and closed his eyes. So he's tough enough, absolutely, to fight at light middle or at welter. So we'll just look at the options. Look for where the big fights are, and certainly we'll take them at either of those divisions.
You got to see.
When Crawford was very rough and physical
if you want to be the
with
best
Jeff,
in that division,
maybe shoving him around and that kind of stuff.
And if he wants to be considered the best, he's got to face one of those
guys. Really,
right now.
I thought that he was pushing and shoving. Jeff was pushing a little bit, and but no, I think the fight was fought in great spirit between 2 fantastic warriors. So Spence nothing to say bad about the spirit with which the fight was fought in. I thought overall, that's just boxing. It's not tiddlywinks. We know it's tough out there, so there's always going to be a bit of pushing and shoving.
I'm glad I don't have to wear that hat.
No issues with that.
That's for Al Heyman and Bob Bam. They do a great job, man. They're veterans. They know how to do this thing. They'll let it simmer. Hopefully, just the right amount of time, and hopefully they get it on
incredibly good
at the
fighter.
right time.
I'll tell you what, any other welterweight is going to really struggle.
Unless somebody else emerges, the winner of that fight, the guy who emerges out of this welterweight division.
Any other questions?
That's probably going to be the best fighter in boxing.
How do you compare this one to the Lomachenko over Linares one? Which one was more
Glenn,
impressive?
I just wondered, looking at him moving up in weight, Crawford having come up from lightweight up, does that impress you more that he was able to do what he did to Jeff? I know you said he wasn't hurting him, but he was landing those clean shots. The fact that this was a guy that was a naturally smaller guy moving up in weight, did that have any impression on you?
I feel like Terence.
I don't at all. I think he can certainly handle himself as a welterweight, because I think Jeff can certainly handle any of the guys out there in the welterweight, and I think Terence Crawford can as well. So, is he a massive puncher? I wouldn't say they're massive punchers, but he's a sharpshooter. He's a very crisp boxer with great gap control and has all the skills. So,
put all of that
time
into
will
the
tell
equation
when
before I make
the
decisions.
big hits start landing on him as to how he'll take them, but his gap control was pretty impressive, and I think that landing the clean shots is where we just fell a little bit short tonight against Manny. I felt Jeff was getting that a little bit quicker,
so he's doing his job,
and just landing that right hand a little bit flusher, and you start landing a couple of clean shots, it can change everything.
You were talking earlier about it's not fair to Terence the way he is not marketed, but he should be promoted more. And you felt when someone asked him about marketing himself that that wasn't right.
I mean, I want to say it's not right. I just don't understand it.
Dean and Bob as the next
I don't understand it. Like, I've seen guys come from other countries who don't have a base here.
Is that for Glenn, Dean, or Bob? Which one?
They get promoted and they get pushed. And
Bob,
they should.
first.
This is
We
the
will
land
look
of
at all
opportunity.
options. Like what I want Jeff to do now
They
is
should
he's
come in
fought
and,
an incredibly brave
have an
fight
opportunity
there.
to make
He's
it
come all the
and
way
make a
over
name for
here to
themselves.
America to fight that fight, to
question
defend
is,
his title.
the gentleman
I think
said,
he
what does
deserves a bit
Terrence
of a
have to
break,
do
a bit of a holiday.
become a household
That's something
name?
that Dean and I will talk about
my
over
thing
the coming
is I
days.
think he
Is
did
let's
his job.
plan the next move.
I think he's, what, 33 and 0?
You know, Jeff Shady can take
So,
on anybody.
sometimes
and
I hear
certainly for the first time
critics say, well,
fighting this
you know, he's
far
not a
away
household
from his
name because he doesn't hit
hometown. He's
hard.
been to New
You know,
Zealand
he doesn't have
the
knockout
first
power.
time in the US. There's a few little things that
just saw some knockout
we've learned over here as
against a
well.
guy he wasn't supposed to knock out.
I
I've seen
think
him do
that
that
we'll
multiple times.
weigh up all options. It's a matter of
If Terrence
planning
has to
his
do anything
next
other
best
than being
move,
himself,
looking at the
asking for
entire
way too
picture of
much.
his career.
You can
So
get
we've got to
behind
look
him.
at the
You can
whole
promote
career.
him.
One thing
When he goes
I
home to
can
rest,
assure
to be
you
with
is
his
we're
family, that's
certainly
the time
not
to talk
looking
him
for
up.
any journeymen
He's
or
got a
things
fight
like
coming up,
that.
talk him up.
But,
I
we'll look
guarantee
at
you, if
the
you
money on
consistently do
offer for
that,
different
the
fights
lay
and look at
person will
what's
start
the
to
best
reckon, man,
financially
who
for
is this
him,
kid?
and also
Terrence
what's the
Crawford.
best
Wow,
move
I
for his
just read his
career.
story, man. I seen this
Will he fight
article.
again this
That's
year?
how it works.
Like 100%.
You guys have a job doing. You guys do a great
Jeff
job at
usually
it.
likes to fight.
The fighters have a job doing. He did his job tonight.
I was given from
Now it's time for
day one
everybody
as
else
a
to get
minimum.
behind him and show
So
their
we've only
appreciation
got
by
one
lifting
fight
him
out
up.
this year.
Andre, I think.
Man, you went left. Boy. Hey, Ellie, boy. What's the question? What's the question about?
What do you tell Steph Curry if he's watching?
Man, I can't tell Steph nothing.
They shoot 9 threes.
Got 3 rings. Shoot, I need Steph to tell me something.
I think he's the real MVP.
Yeah, man, them both my boys, man. They could have went either way, man. But I'm happy KD won it, back-to-back MVPs. Man, what can I say about him? I know a lot of people salty, man. They mad.
Oh, they
won again, but they some bad men. You know.
Andre, you and Terrence Crawford have a unique style, like your own styles, but I noticed a similarity. You guys are insanely competitive. Like, you and the Kovalev fight, when they get off like a shot, you never let them have that moment. You get that playback. And I seen Crawford do that. Jeff Horn would land 1, Crawford's landing 4, and he would steal that play away from him. Where do you get that competitive edge and that competitive streak, or where does a fighter get it? Because you guys both have it.
I've always been like that. I don't know how much my upbringing shaped it. Sorry, bro.
You know, just
I don't know how much my upbringing shaped it.
two-part questions over here, mate.
I've just always been like, I don't want to lose nothing. Like, just yesterday, you know, Terrence was out shopping at the Gucci store, and we in there arguing about who would win the basketball. Like, bro, listen, man, you got to fight tomorrow. He's like, you arguing with me about basketball? Listen, bro, no, that's the first thing he said to me when I went in his locker room. I said, hey, bro, congratulations. You ready to play? I said, man, don't let that win get you in trouble, bro. You just got to win. You know, you try to take an L.
He makes those faces, too.
It's just the way we're wired, bro. And for me, and I think for Terrence, those are our biggest assets. Or mine, that was my biggest asset when I was acting. I'm getting used to talking past him being retired, but that's his greatest strength. You're not going to beat me. If you look at Alexis Arguello, Aaron Pryor, Alexis was polished. He was the better skillful fighter.
Yeah, then I think
made up his mind, you're not going to beat me tonight.
Asked
and
the
that's why
question
he
in
broke
relation
Alexis.
to
You
Anthony
can't teach
Mundy.
that, bro.
I heard Glenn talk about journeyman. I'm not quite sure who he was referring.
Tonight,
but,
obviously,
in
Terrence
short,
was beautiful.
You did say some months ago to me that
Is
that
he the
fight was always
pound
going
for
to
pound
be
best
on
right
the
now?
table. It's a money fight in Australia. Is it something that the camp might look
bro,
at as a, dare I say, tune-up fight?
It's something that we have zero interest to people over here in America.
Yes.
And I think Jeff Horn's made a bit of a statement over the last 12 months.
fighter should not be the most popular.
People watching beat Manny Pacquiao over here.
He should be the guy that has fought the best competition
and he's a hell of a
and has
promotion this
beaten the
week,
best
and he showed, I
competition
thought,
over an
great courage in
extended
the
period
fight
of time.
tonight. Yes. So for me personally,
He's a 3-division world
I'd
champion,
like to
and
see
if
him
I'm
fight
not
another
mistaken,
big
if I
name
read it
American.
properly,
However,
he's done it with the least amount of fights.
So we'll
And I think it's probably like 6 or 7 guys that are
Second
in
part
that
of that is
category.
more of a compliment to the camp in an
he's
era
done
of
it the least
alphabet
amount of fights.
suits
I mean,
and
what more does
multiple
he
world
have to do?
champions.
And
It's
he's
no
not
disgrace
running
to have a
he's
loss
not
next to
running
your name
from
when you
smoke.
fight pound for
He's not
pound the
running
best
from
in the world.
challenges.
So
He's asking for
congratulations
it.
to Jeff.
He just does it in a different kind of way. He's
Very
not
much
boisterous.
appreciated.
You know, he could turn up, but he's more or less like, man, whatever, I'm ready. What do you think about this guy? Bring it on. It's simple and plain.
I think
Andre,
Sean Porter,
just from the technical
Garcia,
standpoint, what he does in the
fantastic.
ring, are there
Either
any
one of those
things
two.
he
I really
does
like
when you're
Adrian
watching
Broner.
ringside, like, oh, I love it
like
when he
Jason
does that?
Vargas as a
Or
fight.
I
And
just
tell you
can't
what, I'd love
understand
to
how this
see
guy
Jeff
like
Horn see third
switches.
get in the ring.
like effortless fight as well.
Like when I switched, I'm left-handed, and I was turning around. A lot of people don't know that. That's why my jab was the way that it was, because my strong hand was my lead hand. But this dude, he's right-handed, and he'll switch. I think he's right-handed, but he primarily boxes right-handed. And he'll switch southpaw and fight like that for the whole fight, for 2-3 rounds straight. And he's just as effective from the left-handed stance as he is the right-handed stance. I can't wrap my brain around that. I'm like, bro, really? So that's probably the main thing that jumps out of me, man. And he reminds me of myself from the
Personally,
standpoint
my
of,
opinion is Terrence Crawford is better than Errol
being the
Spence.
biggest
He's got a
guy,
more complete skill set than Errol Spence Jr. And that's
Like, in
taking
the ring
nothing
tonight,
away. I think Errol
Warren looked
Spence
like
Jr.
a
is a
linebacker.
terrific boxer,
Terrence looked like a
but
wide
I don't
receiver.
think he has the complete
That
skill
wide
set
out,
that
that
Terrence
wide
Crawford
receiver
has.
is pushing
Terrence
around the
Crawford
linebacker right around the
has
6th
all
or
the
7th
skills.
round.
He certainly does, and as I say,
and it's hard
yeah,
for
I
people
do
to
think he's a
understand that.
superior
Having
boxer.
said
We
that,
look at,
Spence
we
is a
take the
hell of a
low-hanging
fighter
fruit.
as well.
Wow, he looks amazing.
And,
He's
he's a
big.
tier in the division. There's no argument. Not too many guys want to step up to the plate with him.
And I sent a message to the young fighters when I was on ESPN tonight.
Given it
I
how
said,
hard
listen,
Spence hits, you said that
there's a lot of talk about fan-friendly style, a lot of hoopla about that, and it's actually altering young fighters in the gym where they feel like they got to take punishment, dish out punishment in order to be accepted. No, we're not going to do that.
In my opinion, Errol Spence is a bigger puncher
Build up your
than
physical
Terrence
strength
Crawford.
so you can be a strong master boxer.
He throws more
like
heavier
Terrence,
punches, whereas
so people can't
Terrence
push you
Crawford
around.
can pull the trigger, but he's
Learn the
more
art
of a
and skill.
sharpshooter.
Work on your jab.
And, you know,
Sometimes
if he
these
really
young fighters don't want to work on the
he
jab.
stands and unloads,
It's so easy, it's
but
hard.
unfortunately, when he does that,
it's
he's
just a jab.
also
Listen,
left a little
man,
bit
that
vulnerable.
jab will take you to the
We
mountaintop
couldn't
and
quite
keep you there for a
exploit that
minute.
tonight, but
Learn how to hit and not get
which
hit.
is a
And
shame,
he has an
but
exciting style.
certainly
He's
I
just
do
not
think
giving
that
up
Terrence
unnecessary
Crawford
shots
would be
and taking
right
punishment
where
to
they
do it.
stand right now if they were to fight
Be
the
like
next
Terrence
fight.
Crawford, man.
I believe
Hit and not
personally
get
that
hit.
Terrence
Andre,
Crawford would
is
be a
the
little bit
fire in
too
the belly
slick
still
for
there?
Errol Spence
It's always
Jr.
gonna be there.
That's my
Yeah?
opinion.
You still staying in shape then? You still working out?
I have to.
Yeah.
I have to. Like in the back of my mind, like I have no intentions on coming back.
I'm not a big fan of the
contrary to what people are saying. I'm not
You
working
know,
on
he's a
nothing.
great talker in the media.
But
and he definitely generates
this,
interest in
you
the
know, I'm
media.
coming up on
As many
the
people
year
hate him as
anniversary
love him.
of my win
And
over
he
Sergey,
worked out a long
and I'm
time
not
ago
even a
that,
year removed
being a
from
bad guy
retiring.
makes a lot of money.
But so that mentality is not gonna go away. Like I gotta stay in shape. I'm not going to the gym every day, but I gotta stay in some kind of shape.
But we'll wait to see. I'm only one voice in three.
Shakur Stevenson, are you? What would enter? What would get you back in the ring? Like, what would absolutely have to be the thing that gets you back?
I mean, listen, man. Some people may not understand.
He handled his
what I'm
power
about to say.
perfectly.
Some
There was
people
no
may.
problem with the power. He was a little bit frustrated at times
The
at
retirement
landing a
was
clean shot on him.
The
So
retirement
he was just
was
trying to
sincere.
land that real clean
Not pulling
shot
the
that could
Mayweather,
then
you know
set
what I'm
up
saying? Like, I'm
a
not
finish to the
plotting and waiting
fight.
until
The difference in this
the
fight
interest
was
builds
against
up
Manny
and then,
Pacquiao, we were
try to
clearly
make a
winning
comeback. I'm
that
not
fight
planning on that.
in the round 9. And I
The
think
only
if
way
we would have been
I would come
clearly
back to
in
the sport of
front
boxing, and
in
I'm
this
a believer
round,
in
Robert
Christ,
Berg
man.
would
I'm
have
a
kept that fight
Christian,
going and it could have been a
praying
different
man,
ending.
and I
We
really
always
have to
felt
feel
we
like
were
that's
still in
something
the
God is
fight. At no
giving me the
point
okay to
tonight did we feel we weren't in the fight. We're still in this
and if
fight.
I
We
didn't,
just
I don't care how
we
much
just
money's
need
on
to
the
go up
table,
a
man. I'm
gear,
not gonna
Jeff.
do it.
I've just got to
So,
lift you. I
again,
know the gears are there. I've seen the gears
not
in
planning on
training,
it,
but
I still
just
have the
couldn't
mentality of a
quite
fighter.
get
The fire's
that
not
gear.
gonna go
But he
away.
did ask me before that
I just gotta
last
keep
round
living my
how many
life, man, and
rounds to
just see what
go, and I
happens.
knew he was
You know,
thinking,
we'll just see what
I'll
happens. But I
cruise
would
through
have to have
another
a
round or
strong
two, and
feeling
then
like,
I'll
man,
push
you
the
know what? I
button,
feel like
and
I
I'll
should do it.
really go
But
hard
right
on
now, I don't
him
see
the
it.
last few
From a
rounds and
natural
just
standpoint, I
pour
don't
it
see
on. And I
the
think
landscape. I don't
who
see.
knows what would have happened?
I don't
We
see
won't
nobody.
know.
And
Maybe
Tony, I
we'll
know
get a
Tony-
rematch.
I know Tony called me.
I would dearly,
I'm chilling, man. I'm
dearly
on the set
love
of
for Jeff
Contender,
Horn
man.
to
I'm
fight
trying to
Terrence
watch this fight,
Crawford
and it's
in
like,
Australia.
I won Andre Ward. I'm like,
We
wait a
get that
second, bro.
opportunity.
What's up, man?
Very
I thought we were cool.
Jeff Horn has only
I
got
get
to
it,
go up
though.
another
He's
gear
on
or
the
so.
down, not the downside.
Just
That's what I
couldn't
want
quite
to say.
land
He's
the
on the latter
flush
part of
shots
his
there
career. He's
tonight.
winding it
He's
down.
shown us, I think
And
Dean
he's
said,
looking
that
for
he's
the
up there
cash
with
out.
the very, very best.
And I can't blame him.
But
So,
as
I know how the game
we've
goes,
said,
man. I know some
it was
people gonna call my
incredibly
name and
courageous
they're gonna
effort.
tempt me, and you know. Right now, man, I'm not taking the bait.
Freshness in the legs,
Shakur Stevenson, he looks like he's filling out in terms of his frame and coming into his man strength. What do you think about his performance? Is he getting the stoppages and stuff?
I thought he did good. I thought he did good.
Shutting down the
It's
clinches a
funny
lot
how in
more
boxing the
effectively,
narrative will
whereas
change
you'll
from
see
fight to
tonight
fight.
that Terence,
Like just a
whenever
fighter
Jeff
to a
would
goal,
come in
like, oh, he
quick,
doesn't have
Terence was
knockout
quick
punch
to
power.
clinch and shut him
And now
down.
I'm hearing people saying,
So,
oh man,
you
he
know,
looked
he was
amazing. He's
just
hitting like a mule.
struggling to just bridge a
gotta give
little
him time to
quicker, be a little bit more
mature.
intense
He's
in
a
range,
baby.
move around him a little bit
He's
more
20
when
years
he
old,
was
man.
in
Let him
there.
mature.
I
Let him
can
keep
tell
learning
when,
the game.
yeah,
He'll
just
start
the
settling
edge is
down.
just
And he'll know when to fight,
slightly
when to
off,
box.
but it is what it is,
But I love the
and you're
progression.
always
I think
learning
he's
in
right
this
where he
game
needs
of
to be.
boxing.
Happy with the win tonight.
Did you happen to see Tyson Fury's fight?
I didn't see his fight, bro, but I saw him pick up his opponent. And I saw his opponent try to pick him up.
And today you kissed him. You kissed him on the lips before the fight. Before the fight. It was the worst fight I've ever seen in my life.
Trying to mix it up a little bit more, just change the rhythms a little bit more, a little bit more explosive, just make him miss a little bit more, watch his recovery a little bit more, get the activity, all the stuff that we work on, just clean it up a little. It was sort of all there, but just, we just had to push the foot a little bit more down on the accelerator, keep doing what you're doing, but just increase the speed a little. You've just, some nights it's not your night, whatever it is, you're just a bit flattish, and as I said, it just was, I don't know, is it the trip? I don't know, is the heat? I don't know. We've just got to sit down and analyse, and you always do this, you always debrief, and that's not to try and make excuses. I think Terence, as I said, is an amazing boxer. One of my favourite sayings is you're only ever as good as the other guy should be. So it wasn't because Terence just didn't let him be great. Don't know, but as I said, I thought it was a fantastic event. I think it was great for boxing tonight. We saw a great fight. Jeff Horn came to fight. He didn't run. He wasn't scared. He wasn't being pinned on the ropes. He toughed it out every inch of that fight, and he didn't stop the fight. It was Robert Bird that stopped the fight. The referee, Jeff Horn, I can assure you, he'd have fought that right out to the end. And because I knew he wasn't hurt, he had no headaches.
Do you feel that
his eyes were clear, the eyes weren't closing? I was more than happy for that fight to continue, and I certainly had no intention of throwing in the towel when the referee ended the fight. But as I said, it's boxing.
But this would be the third negotiation compared to the second time. Do you feel that it should be different?
This is a lesson I learned early in the sport. After I got hit a couple times, bing, bing, in negotiations. I used to say, man, that's
no, he wasn't too strong. It was just, I think, we always said, and I said, I don't expect any size advantage over Terence, a little bit of height, but I think he's had plenty of time. He's had a year or so since his last fight. He's had ample time to put on that size. It's not like he's only just fought a couple of months ago as a super lightweight. So he's had ample time to put on that weight nice and steadily and do it the right way, and I'm sure he's done that. I always expected him to match Jeff in physicality, and I think, yeah, he did that.
Last question, because we got to go right now.
Lomachenko, Mikey Garcia. How does that fight play out if it were to ever happen?
Man, that's a tough one.
Who knows? That's up to Manny Pacquiao. He's got to get past Matisse first. Of course, in July we're very open to that fight. We would certainly do that fight any day of the week.
It's a tough fight.
No issues whatsoever with that.
Yeah, that's a pick 'em fight. I'm not a big. Oh, you guys don't know this already. I don't like to predict fights unless I absolutely feel like I know what's going to happen. That's a pick 'em fight.
But you'd like
Crawford Spence, that's a pick 'em fight. I feel like I would be a mystic. Like, Crawford's going to get him in the ninth round.
Maybe we can put some serious money on the table for him, because that's what it takes to get many.
As I
was
was
talking
about
to
the
Matisse,
fight, I saw this coming.
Not really,
if I can't see it, I'm not going to say I see it. So I think that's
the shine of the world title.
Real quick, after seeing what Terence did tonight, what do you think about
one of the things we have to do is make sure that when we're supported by wonderful support like we get from Queensland State Government and the Brisbane City Council, that we give them a good return on investment.
And it's probably the hottest. Yeah, for sure.
We'll available.
You enjoying the retired life, huh?
Staying busy.
Thank you, Andre.
Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate
you.
Glenn likes to chat, as you know, so feel free to ask away. One question, I'll be back in 10 minutes.
We'll see what he did wrong. Every option that's possible on the table and try to select the best one for him. That will drive him forward and keep increasing his brand. And he's only had 20 fights, remember, so it's still only early days. You have to remember that he never even turned professional until 2013. So he's only had a very brief 5-year career so far as a professional boxer. And to fight as well as he did tonight against, the best pound-for-pound fighter on the planet, I think that's pretty impressive performance.
Glenn, Terence was up there and he said there was nothing that Jeff did tonight that he didn't see coming. He said it was very predictable, he knew what was going to happen. What do you think? Do you think you're surprised him in any way?
No, there's nothing Terence did either that I didn't see coming either. I think the fight unfolded about exactly as I thought. For some reason, Jeff was just slightly off his game. As I said, I don't know why, and I saw it after the first couple of rounds. I expected that he would have got out there and won that first couple of rounds, but they were very close, those first couple. We were going, don't know, they're just too hard to call. So we were looking carefully, and we just couldn't split them. There was just not much landing cleanly from either side. So I think it's only as the rounds wore on, you know, Terence would just get that odd shot here and there, the clean one. We'd go, oh, he's just probably got the clean shot in this round. Bugger, it was really close till then. Not just that little bit more. And as I said, it was more just a gear lower than he normally is. That's all I can put it down to, is one gear down.
Does it surprise you then that I think all three judges had it 80-72 at the time of the stoppage? Did you think Jeff won some rounds, or did you think it was...
I did, but that's not unexpected. I thought Jeff did have a couple of rounds there which I would have given to Jeff, but I always know when you're away from your home, you've got to win your rounds more clearly to get those rounds. So that doesn't surprise me. I think the rounds are close. When the rounds are close and you lose them, you can't complain. Yeah, a lot of people complained in the Pacquiao fight. Yeah, but when rounds are close, you know, you just have to accept whatever whichever way the judges see it. So I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying there was a number of those rounds. There's only a couple of punches here and there, but just the crisp, clean shots, and there weren't many of them. Yeah, Terence would just get those couple of crisp, clean shots in the round. You go, oh, that's frustrating. So a little frustrating, but you know, as I say, that's boxing. We just have to live with that and learn from it.
Glenn, besides running into Terence Crawford just over here, and you mentioned something not quite right. Can you put your finger on it a little bit more specifically? Something not quite right tonight? What went wrong?
He was sniffling when he was sitting in his room talking before the fight. He was sniffling, and I went, I'm not even going to mention it. I'm not going to say anything to him, you know, because I start dwelling on it, saying, yeah, Jeff, you're all right or whatever. Yeah, all I'm going to do is give that energy and give it focus. I didn't want to do that, but yeah, you know, we had a few issues, you know, but these are things. His feet, problems with his feet. We were still sitting up the other night trying to bust his feet. He couldn't push off them, but again, these things happen, you know. He squirted me in the eye actually with all the fluid that came out of his toe the other night. Massive blister, but couldn't push properly. Did that affect him? Don't know. You know, it's frustrating. You feel terrible because you don't want to make any excuses, but you always have to debrief and look for the reasons. You've got to go, what was it? Is it because you couldn't push off on that right foot properly? Was that causing the issue? But just not quite as fast in as he has been in sparring. That's what I can tell you. He was normally a lot faster, and as Ray Robinson would say, you're just getting hit by Jeff normally before you can blink, but just you take that little bit of speed off out of the feet and it makes a difference.
Just the referee stopping the fight at 2:33 into the round. You would have liked to have gone a little bit longer. Probably.
Absolutely. I really felt.
I mean, that's a massive decision for you to make. There were a few people around, to be honest with you, that thought it was time. What would you say to them?
I didn't feel it was time because I knew that Jeff still had the energy and the power to finish him, and I thought that he was still very much in the contest. So even though, as I said, I'm not saying, yes, Terence was winning the fight, but I just felt that Jeff was still in the contest. If I didn't think he was in the contest, I would have been the first to stop the fight. But I felt he was still in the contest.
Anyone see the scorecards from the judges?
80-72, Dino.
What's that?
80-72.
Okay.
All three.
Yeah. All right. I just spoke to Jeff. He's still getting some stuff done, but he's keen to come down. He might be 10 more minutes, but keen to front.
He will be here, and yeah.
How were the family after, Glenn?
Look, the family was very upset, it's fair to say. But you'd expect them to be.
Yeah, they're upset, but you know, again, you know, what more can you ask for from your son or your brother than to show that sort of courage and fight your absolute heart out? Not once did Jeff Horn say to him in the corner, hey, I've had enough, whatever. You know, we were focused all the way through that fight, and we knew we were still in it. He knew he was still in the fight. He asked me how many rounds to go, and he just knew he just had to, and I was just trying to lift him a gear. And I thought, do I lift him now? Do I wait another round and really lift it and really put some pressure on Terence Crawford and just start banging him a bit and just see how big his heart really is? But just a shame we couldn't just land a couple of real big shots on him and just see how it could have changed the fight. We all know in boxing, one punch can change a fight.
I also went into Terence Crawford's dressing room just to shake his hand and tell him how gracious I thought he was in the ring afterwards. And, you know, he was, he said, would love to come to Australia. I said, to fight? He said, yeah, man, make it happen, get us the money. Who knows? Who knows?
Hey Glenn, how do you go about bringing Jeff back from a loss? This is uncharted territory for you guys. How do you go about rebuilding him now?
One of my favourite sayings is, you know, if you're not strong enough to fail, you're too weak to succeed. Okay? If you can't handle a loss in life, we're all going to have losses, financial losses, we're going to have relationship breakdowns, we're all going to suffer, you know, defeat in life at some point. And you've got to be able to bounce back from that. You've got choices. You can either retire, or you can be like Evander Holyfield said when he lost. What are you going to do? You're going to give it away? No, I'm going to get back in line. So like Evander, we're going to get back in line. You know, we're going to get back in line, and we're going to rise, and we're kind of going to come back bigger and stronger. You know, that's the way it is. You've got the choices: run, hide, crawl inside a whiskey bottle, give it away, wonder what you could have done, or just man up, toughen up, harden up. You know, that's what it's all about. That's what Jeff's spirit's all about. That's why I've taught him, is, you know, just to keep getting back up, and he will do that. Have no doubt whatsoever that Jeff will come back bigger and stronger than ever.
Rita? How you said
Everyone subscribe to the channel.
Get me the money, get me to Australia.
Jeff Horn is coming in about 5 minutes.
I know you got money there,
so stay tuned if you want to watch that. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it.
Crawford, Jeff Horn fight down in Australia, but there's
more
than, you know,
50, so you hit the subscribe button
straight after
right
the
now.
fight, and everyone sort of fired up and what have you. There's a lot of things have to take place. You know, Bob Arum is a major contributor to what's going to happen next too. So, you know, and it comes down to what's the best option for Terence Crawford. You know, if Glenn tells me he wants to have a rematch, then I'll work my ass off to make sure that, or I try and make that happen. And, you know, Bob's going to be looking around saying, well, what are the options for us? What's the most amount of money? And what do I want to try and achieve? And what does Terence Crawford want to try and achieve? So I think incredibly gracious of Terence to be talking the way he is. And, you know, we're very, very thankful for it. And it's something we'll definitely pursue. So let's just wait and see. But I think there's a myriad of options out there. You know, there's some great welterweight fights happening, and for me personally, and this is just my opinion, the big money fights are going to happen at welterweight over the next sort of 3 to 5 years. I think there's a myriad of just great fighters out there, and the welterweight division's about to catch on fire. And who knows, you know, there's 5 or 6 fighters that could be just doing round-robin tournaments on a regular basis, and that's what the game needs right now to get some superstars in America, because right now there's only, you know, there's 2 on the rise. One of them's Terence Crawford, the other one's Vasily Lomachenko, but the real superstar right now is Canelo Alvarez. And we need 3 or 4 or 5 fighters up in the rarefied air that he maintains from a revenue generation point of view. And I think the welterweight division's the hottest division in America right now, and that's where we want to be.
Just one thing on that, by the way, is I did say to Dean originally when he mentioned this fight, I would dearly, dearly have rather have fought Terence Crawford in Australia. Just all those little bits, you know, the jet lag, all that sort of stuff. I wanted to fight him there, but unfortunately Terence's brand wasn't big enough, and Dean said, we just can't make this fight pay in Australia. That's the problem. He said he just hasn't, he doesn't yet have, he's a great fighter, but he just doesn't have the pulling power. He's not a Manny Pacquiao. People don't know him. As he mentioned, he doesn't talk a lot in the media, which is a shame, because if we would have had the fight in Australia if we could have filled Suncorp Stadium with Terence Crawford, but the danger was that we bring him down there and lose a heap of money. So that was the problem. But we dearly wanted to have the fight in Australia, because after all, when you're the champion, you think, hang on, why am I going over into his backyard to fight, you know, if I don't have to? But, you know, it is what it is, and, you know, in the end we have to come over here.
Having said that, thank you to the Australian media who come over here. You know, we had upwards of 30 guys here by the end of the fight. And due to the efforts you guys have put in, Terence Crawford is definitely a much bigger brand name in Australia than he was only 2-3 weeks ago. So, you know, potentially that would be an absolute reality, because I think there'll be very few Australians right now who don't know how Terence, who he is, and more importantly, don't know how good he is. Like, he's that's one hell of a fighter, and you guys have done an amazing job over the last week in particular, in the 6 and 7 weeks leading up. So, if he's keen, we'd love to have a chat about it.
You mentioned all those great fighters in the welterweight division, but you almost need to be fighting in America to make that, to make yourself.
It's about money, Rito. To be bluntly honest, if we can put the most money on the table, we'll make the fights happen. That's why we got the Pacquiao fight. Bob didn't come down, and Pacquiao didn't come down to Australia and Queensland and Brisbane because they liked us. They came down because we put the most amount of money on the table. And if we think we can draw a big enough crowd and we get global exposure for Brisbane and for Queensland, mate, we will put up the most amount of money and we will make the big fights happen.
How marketable would a rematch be?
I think massively so. I think, you know, we talked about this, Glenn just touched on it, I touched on it before.
It's a shame Terence doesn't talk in the media more because he's actually really good when he does it. And I think he's got a hell of a story to tell. You know, I've read a couple of articles about stuff he's done in Rwanda, read some articles about how he's a great father. You know, he's obviously a great boxer and he actually loves fishing. So the guy's got some stories to tell. I just think he's very wary of the media for whatever reason. But I think if he could perform regularly in the media, because I actually think he's good at it, I think he'd become a superstar very, very quickly because he's one hell of a fighter. And like I said, he's heading to the Hall of Fame. So the more he talks, the more money he's going to make. And I do think if he wanted to, we could raise the money to make it happen. But there's a lot of will has to go into it from one, Bob Arum, and two, Terence Crawford and Bomac. Because I'm pretty sure the will be on Glenn and Jeff's side, and certainly from mine anyway, as well.
Dino, if that, you know, Crawford's obviously got a profile in Australia now because of what's happened this week, but blokes like Thurman and Porter and those guys, they don't particularly have one over there.
You go back to the same problem, Rito.
Yeah.
You know, like all of a sudden, you know, Terence Crawford is probably the third most recognised fighter in Australia right now in this welterweight division. First to be Jeff Horn, second to be Manny Pacquiao, now you've got Terence Crawford. So we've built, and let's be honest, this is the business of sport, you know. Too often you look at all the things around and it's sport, but this is pure business. And with the amount of brand equity we've built around Terence Crawford and Jeff Horn, I think it'd be very easy to put a rematch together. And Australians love to back their own, and Australians love to back an underdog, you know. And Australians, most importantly, love to back a battler and a guy who's got the potential to win. And Jeff Horn's all of those things. So if Jeff was up for it, and Glenn was up for it, and the Queensland State Government was up for it, and Brisbane City Marketing were up for it, and I think they would be, and Terence Crawford was up for it, I'm sure we can make it happen. It just comes down to one thing, mate. Where's the most amount of money? And that's what it's all about.
The reason I was saying that was those other guys don't have that profile, so bringing them to Australia
Correct.
is lucrative.
So Crawford would be, of all the welterweights out there right now, he might even be more marketable in Australia than Manny Pacquiao, simply because he is a current WBO champ who just beat an Australian WBO champion. So I think of all the welterweights in the world right now, Terence Crawford is by far the most marketable in Australia. It just comes down to can it be made to work dollars and cents. And as Glenn said earlier on, love to have the fight in Australia, but I just looked at him and says, mate, unfortunately Australia, no one knows who Terence Crawford is. We know he's a great fighter, but that's the boxing fans. And to make it work in Australia, you've got to have general sports fans. And I've got no doubt that right now, you know, you guys are fighting 2 and 3 times a day. We were seeing stuff going with the 6 o'clock news at the top of hour and the sports hour. So all of a sudden, Terence has got a very good profile down there, and he beat a real Aussie battler. So I think it could be doable.
What I was getting at that thing was, if you can't get Crawford there,
yeah,
and you want to fight the big fights in the welterweight division, you'll have to fight them in America, will you not?
Well, not necessarily. You know, it comes down to how much the other fights command. You know, if you have a look around the welterweight division, it's not the massive money it was once upon a time. It's as simple as that. There's only one superstar in America that makes massive money right now, and that's Canelo Alvarez. So things are doable, Rito. It just comes down to at what rate. Yeah, I know you're just trying to keep things interesting. I'll do my best to entertain you. I might tell a joke or two. There's no stand-up comedy here, Grantley.
Could we raise the prospect of what it might cost to bring Terence Crawford to Australia, based on what he got here?
Oh, look, the answer is I don't know, because market values change on a regular basis, and maybe someone else comes in from America and says, oh, we want to fight Terence, so we're going to put up this much, or maybe Bob's got some other ideas. You know, it's one of those things that these fight negotiations, you can get into them. If you have a look at, say, Mayweather-Pacquiao, that fight took 5 years to make, you know, maybe longer. So the answer is who knows. But one thing I can tell you is Jeff Horn's going to be fighting in November or December. It may be indoors, it may be outdoors, and you know, it might be sooner than that. I just got to talk to Jeff and Glenn and see what they want. Jeff's on a holiday for the next week or 2 weeks, I believe, and then we'll have a serious discussion after that.
Conceivably, could you get him another of the champions by then?
Why not?
Or would you not want to do that?
Well, look, it comes. These guys told me from day one, we want the big fights. You know, I don't. While there's no doubt Jeff Horn got beaten tonight, right? I don't think he was overly outclassed that you wouldn't put him in the ring again with Crawford. And on that basis, given how good Terence Crawford is, you wouldn't put him in the ring with any of the other welterweights. You know, don't forget you've got Garcia and Porter going ahead soon. Vargas and Broner, you know, Thurman would be a perfect fight, but he just seems to be scared of everyone at the moment and won't take anyone who's got, you know, won't take anyone who's a risk. He just wants to get his shoulder right. Jeff does promise to come. Wade. There you go. Yep.
Could you get him at a cheap price, do you think?
I don't think you're going to get any world champion in the welterweight division cheap.
No, I don't mean by comparison with someone like a
Well,
Pacquiao.
look, Pacquiao is a unique proposition because he's had, 56 or so fights. Been fighting for 15, 20 years at the highest possible level, and he's a unique individual. So anyone compared to Pacquiao at the moment is reasonably cheap. Having said that, Manny Pacquiao draws a crowd. I think we had 51,000 people at Suncorp Stadium when he came down, and 15,000 of those would have been local Filipinos. So he's quite a unique beast, in so much as that you can guarantee you're going to fill stadiums with Manny. So maybe, someone you pay $2 million to is far more expensive than a Manny Pacquiao at $8 million if you fill a stadium. It just comes down to the economics and the drawing power, and that's not an exact science. Right, Jeff Horn's here.
Okay, so by all means, anyone who's got any particular questions asked of Jeff, just go right ahead.
Everyone subscribe to the channel. Always bringing you guys love content, post-fight.
Jeff, what are your
videos,
thoughts on that one, mate? Obviously, Crawford is proved himself a superstar tonight. Glenn said you were a little off. Did you feel off?
Yeah, I did. I just couldn't get in my rhythm in the fight. I really wanted to press him forward. I was actually even thinking of, in my head, I'm like, oh, I can just imagine what Jeff Fennick or someone's saying right now. I'm just going, people just going, stay on his chest, stay on his chest. And it's like, oh, I just couldn't get on him, and he did very well boxing. His skills in boxing were very good.
Do you feel that you had more in you when the fight was stopped? Because
yeah, I definitely had more in me before that fight was stopped. I thought it was a little bit early, but look, he's just trying to look after me. I know, as I said before, Joanna would have been extremely happy about it, even though I'm not extremely happy about it. But yeah, it wasn't going my way. But those championship rounds, I really feel like I lived.
Jeff, at the start of the fight,
yes.
Yeah. Did you want to jump on him more? I mean, against Manny Pacquiao, you were way in front of the first 6 rounds, but you sort of let him get a head start.
Yeah, I did, and I think that's just styles, I guess, make fights. And Manny Pacquiao's a guy that comes forward, and that worked in my favour because I wanted to come forward as well. But he was very much on the back foot, very cagey, and he would throw a good solid punch if I was to go into it, and I was just timesing his power if I was to walk into him. So I should have probably feinted more and maybe just guarded and took one on the gloves and then got him, but you can only say that now.
Can you win a rematch?
Oh, possibly, yeah. I definitely think I can win a rematch if we had a rematch, and surely I should be allowed one because I was the champion.
Good on you, mate.
Thank you.
Jeff, Terence said that nothing you did surprised him. Nothing you did surprised him. He expected everything that you brought to the table. Do you think you have enough adjustments in your style? He was kind of getting at the point that you can only change so much of what a fighter does. Do you have more left in the development of your style to trouble some of these slicker guys?
Yeah, definitely. I've got. Look, I should have worked harder in that fight. I should have probably upset him a fair bit more. It was frustrating. I was frustrated in there, but I definitely didn't work things that I was meant to do in there, and I feel I was slightly up in the ring tonight.
Jeff showed an incredible amount of heart and toughness tonight. The big question heading into this fight for Crawford was, what kind of a puncher will he be at welterweight? How was his power at welterweight?
Yeah, it was decent. You definitely don't want to get hit by like anyone. You don't want to just stand there and get clipped by a. Look, I wouldn't want to go up against a 60-kilo fighter and just let him punch me in the head. So, yeah, the power was there. I definitely didn't want to get hit by him.
G'day, Jeff. Glenn and Dean have been talking sort of about possible future options. It's obviously quite soon after the fight for you to be thinking about that. Is there a preference from your point of view? There's been talk of possibly a rematch with Crawford in Australia at some point. Anthony Mundine, Manny Pacquiao, those sort of things. Does anything jump out to you as a goal?
They all sound good to me, all those fights. The Manny Pacquiao and a rematch with Crawford definitely sound pretty good. I'd like to definitely fight in Australia. I love fighting at home and make the guys travel to us rather than to them, and I think that works a lot better.
Jeff, your lead right's been a really good punch for you. He seemed to take care of that pretty well. At what point in the fight did you think your initial plan wasn't quite going to work and that you might have to come up with something else?
Yeah, that was pretty quickly. I figured out. I was like, oh, he's very crafty. He's very good on the gap. I was like, oh, he's figuring out when I'm coming at him, and he was measuring that distance very well, and that shows he's a good boxer. And look, I should have probably just poured the pressure on a bit more earlier, and maybe that would have upset him.
How are you feeling emotionally at the moment, mate? You haven't had a loss for a little while. It's a new experience for you as a professional, and you had such, it's a big fight for you and what you could have gained in terms of US prominence and sort of winning over the many critics you have over here. You might have won a couple over with your courage tonight, but how do you feel about all that?
Yeah, look, hopefully I did win a few over with the strength I showed in there, and I lasted with the pound for pound number one, or arguably number one. I didn't fight my best either. I hope people could see that, but I definitely feel like I at least did all right. I did all right anyway.
Joe and your mum were sitting right near me. How were they after the fight backstage?
They were fine, I think. They seemed pretty calm. They just seemed happy. I think that I was in good spirits. I said I've got no headache, nothing really wrong with me. I feel fine. I felt probably like I had more wax. I didn't feel buzzed at all in that fight. He did get me with a couple, but nothing actually buzzed me like I felt in the Pacquiao fight.
Here's a question. Grant, just wait 1 second. You guys have asked a lot of questions around rematches, right? Give me a show of hands if you think a rematch would be a good idea. There you go. Quite interesting, isn't it?
Last few for Jeffy's.
Jeff, just on, you mentioned you didn't feel buzzed and you don't have a headache or anything like that. What work have you had done in the locker room? I understand you've had some stitches.
Yes, I've had made sure Dad thankfully organised a plastic surgeon to be backstage. I don't know if anyone else had anything to do with that, but it's very good having a really good doctor to put you together, just the way you were, well, almost how I was back before the fight.
So, have you got a number for us? Like,
I have no idea. I forgot to ask, Stephen. I think we forgot to ask. 26 is that internal as well? 26 with internal stitches as well.
Just remember that plastic surgeons, that's why you get them. They put a lot more stitches in than normal doctors. So that's the reason why he's had so many.
Jeff, you went the distance with Pacquiao. You were able to handle his punches right here. What was the difference with Terrence? How come you weren't able to, go the full?
I don't know. I just felt off tonight. I don't know what it was. Something just wasn't there, and it frustrates me to say it, but I just wasn't on tonight, and I wish I fought better and followed the game plan a little bit better, but it just wasn't my night.
This is something, as I said, we'll debrief this and we'll work out exactly why, so we'll do a lot of analysis and get to the bottom of that, but I don't think we saw the best of Jeff Horn tonight, but rest assured you will.
Last two?
Jeff.
Go ahead, in the back.
Jeff, you probably, I guess you have learned some lessons about, this was your first fight over here. I know it's very early, but do you think when you think about it, you might learn some lessons from what you did over here, how early you came over here, all those things in your camp over here? Do you think you could probably improve on those next time you're here?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I would have to sit down and debrief, I guess, with Glenn and see what we could improve on, but I felt fine all the way up until, but just in there I just felt a little bit off for some reason. I don't know what it was. Could have been time-wise, could have been anything. I don't know, I just didn't feel on.
Jeff, your trainer mentioned that you had a blister on your foot that maybe you're kind of sniffling in the locker room. You said you didn't really kind of feel yourself in there, but did that contribute to maybe part of your performance, do you feel?
Look, the blister definitely was killing me the last couple of days of training. I don't know if anyone could even realise in that last split session I really wasn't moving too much and it was killing me. But in there today it was pretty fine. I didn't notice it. The adrenaline took over anyway, so I can't use that as an excuse.
And you mentioned that Crawford, obviously you don't want to get hit by him. His power is still pretty significant at 147. Can you compare his power to Manny Pacquiao's for me, and just what are the differences?
Look, it's very similar. It's hard to kind of differentiate if you get punched in the head. They all hurt. So I can show you.
Hey, Jeff, was there, yeah, straight ahead.
Yes.
Was there any point at all where you caught him and you thought, you know?
There was one round, I can't remember what it was. I feel like I got him with a decent one, but I wasn't able to jump on him fast enough to kind of make use of it. And I think he recovered pretty quickly, and he's very good on that back foot, so he got out of there pretty quickly. Just did some dancing.
Thanks very much. Dearly appreciate all the support of the media. You've been absolutely brilliant, and we wish you all a safe journey home. Thank you.
Thank you. There you guys have it, Jeff Horn. Everyone, before you leave, subscribe to the channel. All 78 of you, 79.
The media room will be open till 11 p.m. for working media.
Let's see what else we can get here.
Wish more guys would have been a little bit more respectful to him open, but
Oh, Mark, what do you,
I didn't want to think about it.
Scroll down.
don't enjoy that.
Thanks, Don.
Thanks for always being so nice and friendly.
That's all right.
Makes a big difference. Good on you.
Oh, I've got sure.
That's literally interviews and I don't know.
Last year,
Alright, everyone, so that's it. Yeah, I'll put on the top. Good to see you. Alright, guys, that's everything. I appreciate you guys watching. So, what do you guys think? It was a good fight. It was a great fight. I'm happy to see Terrence live. Yeah, all you guys subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it. Always bringing you guys live content, weigh-ins, press conferences, all that stuff. So thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it again. Man, that light's hella bright. But yeah, all the footage will be up, and not only just the live stuff, other stuff I got will be up on the YouTube later today. I'm working on that stuff now, so click the subscribe button. If you want to hit the bell icon, and that's where you get notified when all the videos and live content comes up. Thank you guys for watching. Also bringing you guys stuff from Leo Santa Cruz and Midas 2. I believe that's over already. I don't even know. But actually, what's going on? Somebody tell me. Because I have no idea.
Yeah, I got to
but yeah, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it.
Ready, guys?
And hope you guys enjoy the live content. Always bring you guys live weigh-ins, press conferences, media workouts. Click the bell icon, because sometimes media workouts happen randomly in the middle of the week, so you can check it out. Appreciate you guys again, man. Thank you guys for watching. We're growing big, so.